start this off, to be a part of this sort of ensemble Christmas film must have simply been a joy so for both of you. So throughout this entire experience, what do you think was the best thing about working with like this entire cast in its entirety?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, working with all these people, all these Hollywood icons, these Hollywood legends, they're people that I've wanted to meet and wanted to film something together in like my entire life. So actually getting to do this and do that in this film is really like a remarkable experience.
I um I agree with Ben. I have memories of watching Martin Sheen do his scene, and it was a gigantic scene with a lot of technical stuff because he's playing an appraiser, and watching him do it in one take um, was like watching a master class. So yeah, that was a memory I won't soon forget.
I love that. And speaking about working with all these Hollywood legends like Martin Sheen, June Squibb, and John Lovitz, what was it like sort of to get to work with them in those scenes? And did you guys feel like any sort of intimidation before you actually got to know them and be with them on that set?
I was I was very nervous going into my appraisal scene
Loretta Devine.
with Loretta Devine and Dot Marie Jones in the background, people that I've looked up to, but like when they're in their character, they're a completely different person from how they are outside of the film. So I was really nervous to meet them, and I didn't know how they would react, if they'd be nice, and they are just awesome.
Yeah, I had a scene with John Lovitz, and I was a big fan of his. And it was there were some jokes in the scene, and I actually had a lot of the jokes the way it was written, and I was really nervous about that. But he was so supportive and kind of was coaching me, not without my welcoming it. He was, really just helping me. I'd ask him, his opinion. And he kind of really was so generous, and he's one of these guys that when you're hanging out with him, you don't know if he's doing a bit or if he's being John Lovitz. You don't really know when the act ends and he starts. But I will tell you, unequivocally, he's a sweet, sweet guy, very, very talented, and just wants you to do your best.
Oh, I absolutely love that. And I absolutely love both of your characters, Charlie and Tom, who are sort of also off in their own little worlds with throughout this film until sort of that final ending. So when you both began to understand what this overall story was about, what traits from both Charlie and Tom do you think stuck out with you when you got into that character and brought them to life in that moment?
Ben?
Um, Charlie's Charlie's character has a very warm and caring touch to it, which I feel like I had that before because Charlie cares for his mother with his entire heart. He cares, he does so much that he does everything that he can for his mother. And I feel like that's one of the ways that playing this role as Charlie just came naturally to me.
I have a different experience because I am playing a version of a job I've had. So I was the host of Antiques Roadshow for many years. Now I play the host of this show. The difference is this guy on this show, kind of a jerk, right? So it was fun for me to be kind of that guy, a little bit kind of smarmy and not, you know, full of himself. Likes to be on TV. He's a nice guy on TV and kind of a jerk as soon as the camera stopped trolling. I'd like to think that's not who I am. Although there are probably people who tell you that typecasting. But yeah, that was fun for me is to play that role, which is not natural for me. So the opposite for Ben. It's not natural for me to be a jerk to the people I'm working with. But it was fun to play that role. And Dot Marie Jones, who has become very good friends with Ben, and to me,
Yeah.
she's the best. We have a couple scenes together, and our attitude is sort of this: she's the executive producer, I'm the host, and we're at odds all the time. And we improv a little bit there, and that was fun. Just kind of getting to be my inner jerk.
So I guess you guys could say that you guys sort of embody different sides of the holiday spirit. Like you got this sort of empathetic side with Charlie, and then with Tom, you got that I don't know, you guys I guess you can say sort of that chaotic, sort of Grinch like attitude with
Yeah, I'm the
Tom.
Grinch, and he's the girl from Whoville,
Cindy Lou Who.
Cindy Lou
Oh,
Who. There you go.
oh. I love that. And even though you both don't necessarily get that much interaction until later in the film, when you finally had that sort of introduction scene later on, how satisfying was it for both of you to finally sort of reach that point and sort of meet both each other in character there?
I'll speak to that. I met Ben off camera first. I had a lot of scenes that I was in the background that I had to be in those scenes before I was doing my actual scenes. And so I was watching Ben work. We have one, I'm doing a scene with John Lovitz, who plays the mayor. And at the end, our and we're doing a television thing within the movie, and it gets interrupted by Ben's character Charlie and his mom. And so I'm a little perturbed at Charlie for kind of messing up our scene, and then I kind of hit on his mom. So it's a little cheesy of me, but I had already met Ben and we'd hung out backstage, so it was kind of fun to be on set and play with him. So and that's really the spirit of it, don't you think, Ben? That acting and doing this stuff is just playing with one another.
Yeah, I feel like acting is kind of like double-sided because in your role, Mark, it's very different from how you actually are. Off camera and just in normal life, you're a very nice, charismatic person.
Thank you.
But in your role, you're
Yeah,
kind of like a jerk.
yeah, you can say it.
And like knowing you as this nice person, talking to you off camera, and then going to film my scene with you, and you're like
Yeah.
getting mad at me. It's like it's so different. But it's really cool at the same time.
That's the thing is when you start doing an ensemble piece like this, you're working with a lot of different people. You get a comfort level before the film starts rolling. So then when you're in the scene, like I said, you're playing with each other, and playing off of one another. And that was something that sort of John Lovitz kind of gave me permission to do. And then Ben and I get to do a little bit as well.
Oh, I absolutely love that. And speaking also about sort of playing around, Benjamin, I really loved it when you sort of also got to explore that historical museum with the, I want to say, variety of different exhibits. So, what was that experience like, just exploring that stuff both in character and on your own? And was there sort of anything that particularly caught your eye, or something that you sort of took from that set? Because I don't think you were allowed. I don't know if you were allowed to take anything from that set.
So in character, I was really upset because in character, it's the William McKinley Presidential Library. It's there to talk about William McKinley. Yet there was only really one room about it, and there really wasn't any in-depth information. But out of character is an entirely different story. There's so many different rooms, different scenes, I could say, where they're showing so many different things, and it's really just an amazing experience when you're just going there to enjoy it.
I absolutely love that you had a great time on that set. And for you, Mark, I got to talk about this because the fact that your character is named Tom L. Hanks was really funny, especially when the joke started to sort of roll around. And I know people must have confused you with the other Mark Wahlberg previously. So, given that, how did it sort of bring that sort of humor into the film and
That
sort of
was a,
confusion?
kind of a little bit that the writers put in, Marissa and Keith. My name is Mark Wahlberg. Obviously, this is a famous Mark Wahlberg. I go by Mark L. Wahlberg on television. So they thought this is a funny way that, people who actually know me will get the joke. And if they don't get the joke, they don't get the joke, but we don't really even pay it off. But that was just sort of an inside joke on, my own actual career when I'm hosting shows with Mark L. Wahlberg, and people are confused all the time. But as you can see from this video, I am not that guy. I'm neither Tom Hanks nor the other Mark Wahlberg. I'm just this guy.
Hmm. So, do you think that was sort of actually planned out when you got signed on to the film?
100%. I
Hmm.
was approached to be on the film before it was a movie. It was a script. They were kind of getting funding, and because I had been the host of Antiques Roadshow, and this is sort of an homage to Antiques Roadshow. That Lost and Found is a televised antiques appraisal event, and that's sort of a nod to Antiques Roadshow. So I was approached to be part of it way early in the process. And as they were writing the script and it became evident that I was agreed to do the movie, they thought that would be a funny bit. And I approved it. Although I rarely make jokes about my name like that because people do it all the time and I kind of let them do it. I just kind of don't want to mess with the other Mark Wahlberg's try to appear that I'm trying to capitalize on his fame and all. But I thought that was a funny bit, and I think people get a kick out of it.
For my last question for both of you, is there some, because this is a lost and found film, is there something that you own or saw something that piqued your interest previously that had unrealized value that you didn't know before? And when you figured the value that it had, how did you react to it?
So I don't really have anything that I've gotten appraised, but there is this one scene where Dennis Haysbert is getting his vases appraised, and just seeing him go through, and they're really not worth much, but that's okay to him, and because it's not about what it's worth to him, it's about his mother, his mother dying, and having the vases, as he said in the film, they never go away. They don't wilt away like flowers do, and that's just such a strong scene, and it has so much like meaning behind it. I really do love that.
For me, I don't own anything of value. That became very clear when I hosted Antiques Roadshow for all those years. I'm not much of a collector. I have watched over the years while hosting Antiques Roadshow, I've watched people's lives change when they've come in with something that was a family heirloom and find out that it's priceless. And I've also seen the other side of it where people, which by the way is also one of the stories in the movie, where somebody comes in with something they think is priceless and it turns out not to be. And so I've seen that many times over in my life with other people. And it just speaks to the fact that the value of items is subjective and has very much to do with what role those items have played in our memories in our lives and with our family. And that's where the value of antiques lies, other than, in its intrinsic value as a commodity. But for most people, it's about the um, sentimental value.
So I guess you could also say that Antiques Roadshow also sort of had that sentimental value that you also had mentioned previously. And in this film, do you think that it sort of carries over from there into this film and sort of into the future beyond this film as well?
Well, I think that's the whole point of the film, is to take the vehicle of what is getting items appraised and get to the crux of what has made Antiques Roadshow successful for 30 some odd years. Is It's not about the appraisal as much as it is about the heart and the connection that people have with one another and family. And that's why I love the movie. The movie is a story of, I don't know, maybe 5 stories of items that people have that they want to get information on. But when you learn the story of why they want the information and what the connection to the actual item is what matters to us. That's what connects us as people, is that our love of family and our collective and shared history is why these items then become important to us.